Honestly, this is like a really evolutionary lifestyle, like personally evolutionary. Most people that I've talked to when they get into this life, it's really hard for them to throw their things away or get rid of them. And then they continue to like kind of accumulate things in those same patterns. But most people that get into this will really embrace the if I don't have room for it, it doesn't come home with me mentality.
What do you do when you come out as LGBTQ and love the outdoors? What do you do when you see outdoor spaces ruled by older, white, cis men and desire a diverse community of outdoor lovers? Accept it, change it, create it. I am Justin Yoder, and this is LGBTQ Outdoors. Hey everyone, welcome to the LGBTQ Outdoors podcast. I'm Justin Yoder.
And I'm Patrick Thompson.
We're so glad that you're tuning in today. We have a great show like usual for you.
Well, could you imagine if we started off like the podcast? Y'all, this one's not so awesome, so you might want to...
But please stay tuned.
Yeah, no, like this one, this is going to be fun for real.
We always have great episodes, I think. Educational, at least.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I'm excited, as always.
And fun. But let's catch up with a little bit of LGBTQ outdoors reminders, news, stuff like that. So right out of the gate, we're going to talk about our local chapter events. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of what we do here at LGBTQ Outdoors. We've got probably 50 ambassadors peppered throughout the country. And every other month or so, they have local meetings or gatherings where they'll go hiking, fishing, camping, stargazing, like anything outdoors, you name it. It's your localized queer community getting together and hanging out outdoors. Safe space to be yourself, to be real, but also to let your guard down and enjoy all that nature has to offer. You can find out all of our upcoming events at lgbtqoutdoors.com/events. So check it out. If there's not a localized chapter in your area and you feel so compelled, we're always on the lookout for new LGBTQ outdoors ambassadors as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I also want to touch on like the Trailblazer Society.
Yes.
The Trailblazer Society is a group that really helps our organization continue doing what it's doing. They are people that believe in our organization and they donate on a monthly basis. They get some cool kickbacks and benefits for different levels that they join as well. And I know a lot of people are just like, oh, asking for money again, but the reality of it is we need it for us to be able to do what we are doing, especially in the time that we're living in. It is becoming a lot more challenging to get, especially government funding. And we really need to rely more on our community that enjoys what we're doing and making a difference in the outdoor world and outdoor community within the LGBTQ community. So I really believe, of course, in what we're doing. Thousands of people come to our events and they believe in what we're doing. So whether you can sign up for a little or a lot, it all makes a huge difference. And we really need it. So if you go to our website, lgbtqoutdoors.com, click on Trailblazer Society, and you can learn all about it and get signed up to be able to make a lasting impact with us.
Yeah. And the thing with the ongoing monthly contribution is that allows us to plan so that we can see okay, we have this much committed to come in this month. This is what we can do with that money. Otherwise, we're just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. But we get to be more strategic about it when we know what's coming.
Definitely. So the other thing that I want to mention is Switchback Spring, which is this cool event that they've asked us to be a partner with them. It's going to be in Nashville this year in June. There's going to be a ton of different outdoor vendors that are going to be there. So if you are in the outdoor industry and you want to come and meet a lot of cool vendors, this would be a great place to do it. you will also see us. So be sure to stop by our booth and say hi if you come. Go over to switchbackevents.com and you can learn all about it and the other events that they have around the country as well.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. All right. I am ready to jump in with our guest today and super excited to have Amanda Benson with us. Amanda is a solo full-time RVer, lifetime traveler, DIY enthusiast, and emergency management professional who has spent over a decade working as a firefighter and remains a medic today. In 2022, she faced a period of uncertainty, sold her home, and jumped headfirst into the RV life, a decision that she never looked back on. This adventure became a journey of freedom as she built a platform called Dusty Trail RV to teach others how to become self-reliant. She works to share her insight and experience so that others feel empowered to embrace an adventurous life. Her mission is to show that this lifestyle can be accessible to anyone who desires it. So, Amanda, welcome to the LGBTQ Outdoors podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I think first we just might mention that Amanda is coming to us from Florida today in her RV. So if you do hear a little bit of background noise, that is part of the RV life. So you're getting to experience part of it.
It is. There's a constant hum. If you like a little bit of white noise or brown noise, it's the life for you, I swear.
It's like being on, if you're a Star Trek fan or a Star Wars fan, like anytime you're on a ship, you hear this in the background.
I mean, I feel like it would make me sleepy all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, not a bad thing. But welcome. Tell us a little bit about you in your own words. We'd love our guests to be able to learn a little bit more about you, connect with you, and then we will dive into learning more about RVs and the adventurous life that you live.
Perfect. Well, I was raised most of my life on a farm in the Midwest, and we were about 40 or so minutes from the nearest grocery store. So we were completely like sustaining. And so because of that, I have a very unique skill set of just figuring it out. And I've been DIYing life since before it was probably safe to. Like if you can imagine like a child with power tools or chainsaws, that was my life. So
I can relate.
Right. Yeah. So I end up kind of down this journey where I think a lot of people end up a little intimidated, and it's just full bore ahead. And I am a problem solver. I'm a critical thinker, and I am a passionate adventurist. I love to travel. So I kind of lumped all these things in together and made it my life. And then I realized, there's a ton of people out there who wish they could do this, but they don't feel confident in their ability to do it. So that's why I started putting together content online, just things that came easily to me that maybe do not come easily to other people. So I put that out there so that they can become more confident and empowered to do this stuff.
Which is also like y'all need to check out Amanda's content online. Like I was just kind of like pre-stalking Amanda, as I tend to do with our guests. And there's a video, and it's just about like washing your RV, including like mopping the solar panel, or I might not have been a mop, but like cleaning the solar panel on the roof. Like that's not stuff that I would have thought about. Or making sure that the sides are clean, just because that extends the life of the vehicle. Like, just simple stuff. So really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's the daily stuff. It's kind of like being a homeowner a little bit too. Like when you rent your whole life or something like that, you never have to think about all the different things that go into keeping up your home. And an RV is just a mobile version of that. And I think that you kind of get in these routines, and it makes it a lot easier to live that life and have it be sustainable if you just know these things.
Definitely. Let's jump back just a little bit, though. What led to you being living the RV life and deciding to do this? Because you had a very different life beforehand, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I would say trauma. um, no, I was a firefighter and a medic, and I was in the Midwest, and I had what I like to call like an upheaval in my circumstance. I faced a lot of sudden uncertainty, and I had this bungalow. It was like the first home I ever owned, and it was 120 years old, and I literally poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this house. I updated everything, I remodeled everything, and it was like a labor of love. And I think I was in it for maybe 6, 7 years. And then I was faced with this situation where I was like, I actually have like a lot of uncertainty ahead of me, and I need to relocate. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go though. And so what happened was I was looking at my house and I'm like, okay, this has been my home base. And that was that house was the longest I'd ever stayed in one place. I was a very poor kid growing up. I'd been disowned when I came out. And I kind of lived that very normal kind of vagabond type of existence where I bounced around a lot. And from place to place, I'd rent here, I'd bounce over here. And so this was like the first place that was my home. And so when I was facing this change, that was traumatizing to me. And I knew I was going to end up heading south, but I didn't exactly know where I would go. And then I was just thinking about, okay, I'm going to have to, when I'm figuring out what fire department I'm going to go to, I'm going to have to rent. I'm going to always have to find a new apartment because I might bounce around a little bit until I figure it out. And it just was so overwhelming. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I have to figure out a better way to do it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take my home with me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get an RV. I'm going to make it my own little hidey hole. It's going to have my bed, my blankets, the familiar things to me, the smells of my home, my own refrigerator, everything set up the way it is, because those things are so important. It's just that feeling, of your space. And so that was what I did. And my intention at the beginning was to do it until I found like a new home base. But I mean, we're going on like 3 years, and I'm here. I like this area, but I just stayed in the RV, and I'm like, actually, this is really nice. I like it a lot.
Nice. And it's a bold choice. I think that's fair to say. Bold, probably nerve-wracking, and but I also think that trauma can be a really strong catalyst for change. And it sounds like your change was a healthy one. I think it's very easy to veer off into trauma responses that are not beneficial to healing and whatnot. So it led you to like this brand new adventure, which is fantastic. Also, before we forget, for your firefighting and your medical expertise,
yes.
and being a first responder, thank you.
Yeah.
It's especially right now, and the wildfires and just all the things. Thank you for being somebody that gives back to the world. It's a big deal.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. What do you think some of your biggest challenges were when you switched from your bungalow to an RV? Because I would imagine the biggest thing that most people would think about is not having the room that they want for maybe even all their things, which I feel like most of us probably have too much things anyways.
Right.
But what was your biggest challenges? Like, was there a point when you got into this and you were like, what have I done? Or was it just smooth sailing for you?
I'm the type of person that I'll just trudge through it. Like as a firefighter, for example, we get interrupted, anytime during the day. in the middle of your meal, in the middle of going to the bathroom, in the middle of taking a shower. You haven't slept and you've been up 3 times since midnight. So that's kind of like you just go and you just like kind of trudge through it. So I'm kind of that person anyways by nature, but I would say I didn't mind getting rid of stuff. That was never like incredibly hard for me. I'm one of those people that doesn't put a lot of emotional value into things. I don't like a lot of clutter anyways. So if I haven't used something in like 6 months, like I'm the annoying person that throws it away. And then like in a year and a half when I need that, I'll just go buy a new one and be like, gosh, well, whoops. But I think one of the hardest things for me was my tools. I know it's hilarious, lesbian tools.
I wasn't gonna say it, but
I mean, you said
I'll say it. But I am like a hobbyist, like woodworker. I love doing construction. I love building things. So I had like an entire wood shop in my house. That was hard to leave because then I had to downsize, and I'm like, well, which tools do I actually need? And so I have like tools that are important for the RV, but the other tools, like my wood shop, ended up actually in a storage unit. And I haven't decided if I'll ever try to just like get a space to use it, or if I'll just sell it eventually. But that alone was the hardest thing, is just like a hobby like that. But honestly, this is like a really like evolutionary lifestyle, like personally evolutionary. Most people that I've talked to when they get in this life, it's really hard for them to throw their things away or get rid of them. And then they continue to like kind of accumulate things in those same patterns. But most people that get into this will really embrace the, if I don't have room for it, doesn't come home with me mentality, because it's so much more important to have a good feeling in your RV and like clutter-free spaces and a clean space than having just like junk. So luckily I trained the people in my life a long time ago that I don't like a lot of random things. So I don't have to deal with like people giving me things. But you know, you have to train your loved ones, right? Be like, yes, you can give me that and it's going to live in your house. That's what you do.
Yeah, that sounds like a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
So let's also like talk about the aspects when it comes to RV where a lot of people are on the road all the time where they're at with their RV versus some that are more stationary with a job or a job that moves around. Can you share a little bit more about like how that is with you? Do you travel much with your RV? Like a lot of people do, like the national parks and stuff like that, or what's life look like in your RV?
So it's kind of a mix of both, because I have a physical office now. I moved into emergency management, solely emergency management, less than a year ago. So I have an office. Because of that, I know a lot of the RVers really push for remote work because it gives them a little bit more of that freedom. But what I tend to do is stay full-time in one area. I have like a home base, but I also have the freedom to go whenever I want to. And that's what I really like. I'm in kind of the Tampa area, and there's like a ton of things to do here that are things that I like to do. There's a ton of springs, a lot of places to explore, a lot of nature here. So it is very easy for me to hook my RV up and go somewhere for a week, a weekend, anything I want. But I do have that long-term spot. So it's basically like, it's very seasonal down here. So it's hard to find long-term spots because you have all the snowbirds that come down seasonally. So what a lot of people end up doing is either renting out place on people's property, which is actually not allowed where I live. They have a lot of restrictions against RVs on personal property. So most of us either find a few long-term spots in the parks or a lot of mobile home parks. If they've like torn down one of the mobile homes, most of them will turn that into an RV spot, and you can find those kind of situated. So I hold on to my spot and I can come and go as I need to. And it's just like, it would be like paying rent someplace, and then just going on vacation whenever you want to. But instead of having to pay for an Airbnb somewhere, you bring your house with you.
I suppose another benefit too is like, especially with you being in Florida, if a hurricane comes, like you just can move your whole house and get out of there.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I was literally just having this conversation, because as a firefighter, before I went strictly to emergency management, I would get deployed to natural disasters, as like on one of the FEMA USAR teams. And funny enough is, since I've been emergency manager here, I've only been able to move my RV once, because I'm working like around the clock, and I didn't get to move my RV for either Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton. And wow. And I literally just like called my insurance company and I was like, can we talk about what my coverage is? Yeah. And then I just like crossed my fingers, and it made it through each time. But I always tell people, do as I say, not as I do. So bring your rig inland, and it's super easy. Yeah, just go bring it in an hour or so. And then if you have to work in the area during a storm like I do, then find a couch to crash on or something like that.
Yeah. Let's talk about representation a little bit, because we love talking about representation in the LGBTQ outdoors world anyways. But when it comes to RVs, a lot of people are doing this solo. And I feel like, to me, somebody like you, and I've got so many lesbian friends that I feel like this would just fit them perfectly, you know? But yeah. I will have to think like there's got to be some that don't maybe know much about maintenance or know as much about, might be a little bit more on the fearful side to be a solo female traveler, stuff like that. But what has been your experience when it comes to representation as far as like solo female travelers and just queer people in general in the RV world?
I think it's a little... It's interesting, because I've not met many others like me. I am part of a few groups of solo female RVers, and they have like such rich communities, and they are just they embrace each other so much, and they support each other, and they help each other kind of learn and stuff like that. But what I do notice is that there is a lot of eating our own in the community. And so some of the platforms that would be highly beneficial for people like me or like anybody, they're kind of like pushed out of those zones when they go there for help, because you have such this, it's typically, what's the best way to say this? It's typically straight older couples that are in this community. And when people don't see like their community in there, but then they also come into that space and are met with negativity. So let's say somebody gets on one of the Facebook groups or something like that and takes a picture of something that's wrong with their RV, and they need help. So they come to this platform, and they're already kind of putting their neck out there, because there's not a lot of visibility for LGBTQ. There's not a lot of visibility or patience for solo females. So they come to this platform and they'll post, this is what's going on. And they will be inundated with this negativity from and we all know the people. You close your eyes and you know the people. They are very patronizing, very cruel. They make people feel stupid. And because of that, I think people feel overwhelmed and they get out of this line of work. And not line of work, but this type of lifestyle. And because of that, I think there's a significant disconnect. And I think there's a lot of people maybe like me that we just haven't crossed paths. We haven't really found the community because most of the RV spaces are overrun with people that aren't like us and who have very strong opinions and are cruel to new people that don't know as much.
Well, of course, incredibly disappointing to hear, but I think that's even more reason why there needs to be more representation and visibility. And we do have a Facebook group ourselves, so the LGBTQ Outdoors Nomads. So if anybody is listening and you do want a strictly queer group to join that's focused around the nomadic life or RVs, just go on Facebook, search LGBTQ Outdoors Nomads, and you'll find our group that you can join as well. It's a smaller group, but it's growing, and obviously you won't have those issues. And so maybe we can get Amanda to join it as well, and then she can be
sure.
She can be a voice, because I know that you have tons of knowledge when it comes to keeping up your RV and have that passion for teaching people at the same time. And later on, we'll get to your social media too, where people can follow you, because I think that you could be a good resource for people looking to get into this for sure.
Yeah, and I will put a disclaimer out there. When people post things that have gone wrong or that they've tried to do, some of them are absolutely hilarious, but I will never make you feel like you're I will make us both laugh about what just happened in your situation. That is what it is. It's with positivity and be like, that is hilarious. I've never seen anybody do that before. Let's laugh about this for a second, and then let's figure out how to fix it.
See, and I feel like that's the perfectly compassionate way to handle that. I mean, like, the internet is amazing for connecting people, but also the internet sucks because there are some big jerks out there who want other people to suffer. Like in some of my Facebook groups that I'm in for the area of work that I do, there's some people who will help, but there's some people who want you to make the same mistakes that they did, because it's like somehow better learning or whatever. Like, and I'm like, that's such a jackass way to handle stuff. Like, especially if it's in within a community that is intended to further education, you know. So I hate that happens, but like Justin said, I'm glad that you're out there being a compassionate voice for your community. I think that's awesome. How do you, and like, we can kind of bridge a couple questions together like this. You are a solo traveler. Do you ever feel have any physical safety concerns, or how do you stay healthy and safe physically and mentally? How's that happen?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I'm like 6 foot tall. I'm like not a small female. And because of that, I have some privilege. It's like one of the only avenues in my life where I have some privilege, because I can walk through, and I'm mask presenting, right? So I can walk through a neighborhood after dark. I can get up at 4:00 in the morning and go running through the neighborhoods. And I don't typically worry about the same thing that smaller females might have to worry about, or more feminine presenting females have to worry about. But just because that is my privilege does not mean that I am not entirely aware of what is happening around me and things that make other women not safe. And even me, I'm not so foolish as to believe that I could never become a victim, but I do know that if anybody tries, they're going to have to try really hard. And most people are, they're crimes of convenience, availability, proximity. And so they're not looking for something that is gonna like give them the fight for their life. They're looking for something easy. So that's a privilege that I have. But one of the things that I frequently tell women is to take self-defense stuff. And that's not everybody can defend themselves physically. We have people in the community that have physical limitations that don't allow that, right? But having groups, having a bit of community. So the accountability, letting people know where you are, because when you're kind of nomadic, it's really easy to like go off on a few side quests, and then you've never told your loved ones that you were going here. It's super easy to do that. And one of the things I did, and this is actually funny, it was before I was in an RV, but I would get deployed down to hurricanes, and I would share my location with my family members, just because it's like, I'm going to be busy, but just, you'll know where I'm at. You'll see me moving around. So I'm alive. And then so like a few years later, I was at the grocery store. It was after I sold my house, and I was staying with my brother and sister-in-law, and I was at the grocery store, and I get a text from my sister-in-law, and she's like, "Hey, are you still at the store? Will you get this?" And I was like, I had this moment. I'm like looking around me. I'm like, what is going on? And it because I'd never stopped sharing my location. And so, but just stuff like that. Everyone has an opinion about guns. If you're one of those people that's comfortable with one and you're a female traveler, I'm not going to say go out and get one or don't, but do what makes you comfortable. What makes you feel safer, go do it. I know women that carry tasers. I know women that carry pepper spray. I know women that carry a bully, like a billy club, like a literal billy club, or one of those tire pressure clubs, So that's a really, really big thing about personal safety. Women have to have their head on a swivel, but they can navigate this world as almost as freely as they want to. They will never be able to walk through the world as freely as a man can, but they can live this life. It's just little things, putting out outdoor lighting, right? Setting up outdoor lighting on the outside of your RV, getting to know your neighbors maybe a little bit, always locking everything, just simple things like that. Keeping an eye out if there's weird people kind of hanging out your area. Yeah. But when it comes to like health, like emotional or physical health, and maintaining that, I'm like really active, so I'm like always doing something. But I like to carry either regional or like nationwide gym memberships. I had a Y membership for a long time, and there's like a couple of gyms that are like really regional for Florida and the southern states. So I'll have a membership for those, or something that is in most places. And I always keep one of those, because anywhere you're going, you will be probably within like 10 miles of a gym, unless you're like completely off the grid somewhere. So that's important. I know there's not a ton of room in my RV, but there's plenty of room for me to put a yoga mat down to stretch, meditate. I am not very good at yoga, so I call it stretching. But it's an ongoing adventure that maybe someday I'll be able to touch my toes. We'll see. But that's really big. And then food wise, it's easy to kind of get into these routines where you're eating junk. If you're traveling, and a lot of people, when they travel, they're going out to restaurants every single place. It's convenient, but most RVs will have some sort of cooking surface, and it's a lot cheaper. And I know I have a medical condition called GSID, which means I don't digest starches or sugars. And so I literally have to cook like all of my own meals. And so that's, it's investing in the tools that you need. So it's not just personal safety, but invest in those tools, physical safety, but then like nutritional safety. And I say safety because that's what it is. It's setting yourself up for a really healthy lifestyle and a more fulfilling lifestyle, because if you're not eating right, your mental health can suffer, physical health can suffer, all those things. So it's an important piece of the pie.
I think that's a really, really strong point that often gets overlooked. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yep.
We're going to take a quick little break so that some of our sponsors can say hello, but we will be right back.
At LGBT Outdoors, we're thrilled to have Montucky Cold Snacks back in our mission. Montucky supports our passion for making the outdoors a welcoming space for everyone, and they've been supporting nonprofits across our country since 2012. After an epic day on the trail, nothing beats a cold, snackable Montucky beer. So get outside, enjoy the adventure, do some good, and raise a Montucky to inclusivity and the great outdoors. Locust Yoga creates mats and towels designed to support your yoga practice and build meaningful connections. Their designs foster connection, bringing people together to create spaces and shared growth and understanding. They also focus on intentional community, providing tools to support your journey and mark meaningful moments with purpose. Find them on Instagram at locustyoga.shop or on the web at locustyoga.shop. And here's a deal just for you. For a limited time, buy any mat and get a free towel with code OUTDOORS. Locust Yoga, because yoga is more than a practice, it's a connection.
And we're back here at the LGBTQ Outdoors podcast, chatting with Amanda, who's an RV aficionado, an RV guru. I'll say that. She's got some fancy, really important stuff on her socials and her content. It's very educational. But I want to know about some of, tell us a couple stories of adventures, misadventures, lesson learned, things that are funny or notable or inspiring. Does anything jump to mind?
It's funny because there's probably a lot of things in my life that are just like, oh, that just happened. Okay. I would say, gosh, I've just traveled so much. I'm trying to think of a really good story to tell you. I would say that, okay, here's one. We went out to, and I say we, I met with some family members out in Washington, outside of Seattle, and we were basically, we love to hike. So we'll meet all over the country, usually between, like, in a mountainous area. So whether it's Colorado or Washington, Oregon, or something like that, we go. So we go out to Washington, and it's like cold, like sink into your bones cold. But when you look at the temperature gauge, it's actually not cold, but like you feel it in your soul. It's like, it's like you're damp and you just never dry off. And so we're out there, and I'm like a drowned rat the whole time. Like I'm just like soaking wet, but we're getting these awesome views. And we just hiked to one of the peaks, and it started like coming in. You could see it from the top, like starting to get a little drearier than it'd been dreary all day, but it was like that smell, and you're like, oh, great. This is going to be awesome. So we're going down this mountain, and we are just like we're clipping along. Like like when you're like a little kid and you like start running down a hill and you're like, oh no.
Yep.
I'm like, my legs and the rest of me aren't really going the same speed. And so one of the people that was with us, and we'd been going, like, it was like autopilot. No one was talking. We were just like going, like wide stride going. And there's like rocks everywhere, and it's like slippery rocks kind of, but no one at that point had like any issues. And all of a sudden, like, we just hear this crunch. And one of the women that were with us had totally face first, like
Ooh.
on her knees, slid. And we're just like, everyone just kind of stops and we're like, oh no. And I'm like, I turn around and look at her. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I think so. And I look and I see like this, like a L shaped like little tear in like the knee of her pants. And I'm like, oh, you tore your knee. Like you tore your pants. Like she's like, oh no, that's horrible because it's like, I just bought these. I'm like, well, then I start seeing like blood, like blossoming. And I was like, oh no, let's look at this. And two of the people that were with us do not do blood, anything, like white face, turn around. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking and you can see like the bone, like her patella in there. And I was like, oh, we actually have an issue here. Okay. And she's bleeding. And one of the guys who does not do well with blood, and he's just kind of sitting there, and he's like, he like went behind her and like put like his backpack under her so she could sit there, but then is immediately like turned away from her. Like, I can't even look at you right now. You're wounded. And he's going through his bag, and he, of all people, had a first aid kit. But he just like throws it to me. He's like, just do it. Do what you need. Also, he's gay, by the way. So he came prepared. So he's like, get it away. I can't even look. Take what you need. And so I was like wrapping this girl's knee up, and I'm like, can you walk? And she's like, yeah. And we're probably like a good 1.5 miles from like the bottom, and it becomes very obvious after like a few steps that she is not going to be walking down this mountain. And the two guys were both like very flustered and like not having what was happening at that moment. And so I like gave her a piggyback ride for 1.5 miles down to the bottom. Oh, well, if it was uphill, she would have laid there until like, we would have come back. And
the guys didn't help.
No, my cousins,
Call them out. What's their names? No, I'm kidding.
my cousins are fabulous, fantastic men, but they're like thrive. Like what they bring to the table is abundant in so many ways, but not that.
But not that.
No, not that. And
did they at least wait for you?
Yes, they were there. They were the cheerleaders. They made sure there was nothing in the path ahead of us. Like they had it. Okay. They had it taken care of.
I still would have wanted a video if I was you. Like I'm the one carrying her down while the guys are not.
Right. And they're like, this is what you do, right? This is, you carry people. I'm like, well, yeah.
Like, okay. Yes, but this is my day off.
Right.
It's funny though. I'm like totally opposite. Like I'm good with somebody else's blood. It's my own blood that I have an issue with. Like I've even, cause like before doing LGBTQ outdoors, photography was my main job. And I even photographed 2 C-sections and absolutely like incredible and loved it. But like if I'm gushing blood out of my thumb or a hand, as I was on one of our adventure trips, like it's like, oh, all right, not feeling so good right now.
I am the same exact way, which is hilarious. Since I've been a medic for so long, I literally could like see a wound that is like gushing blood like a gunshot. I can literally put my fingers right in it and be like, okay, we're handling this. And that's like the things I've seen and touched and whatever. But one time I had a little bit too much to drink when I was a lot younger. And my friends had this like recipe card. There was like a recipe card that was on the floor, and I was sitting on the floor, and I had this like one of their like little switchblades, and I was like cutting the recipe card, and I accidentally cut the tip off of both my fingers.
Oh, no.
And I literally was like, I'm okay. I stood up and passed out. And so I just like looked at it and passed out. So I'm like, I can handle other people's stuff, but if anything happens to me, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, hopefully you're never alone when you have an emergency yourself.
Right. I'd always tell people, like, I am the best person to have like a medical emergency around, but if it's me, I'm like, we're all in trouble.
Having the ability to travel and get on the road, go explore, go adventuring, really centered around the outdoors. What does the outdoors mean to you? How has that become like a supportive tool in your life, just in general?
Yeah, I was raised on a farm, and I spent my whole childhood outside like a feral animal, truly. I still to this day don't like wearing shoes, but I would say that, so I have PTSD. It's from my line of work. And when I was really symptomatic at different points in my career, I would find I would be looking for those things that would help me center. And I quickly figured it out that a lot of my centering is around the outdoors. It is being outside. It is being away from urban areas, actually, entirely. And I never like being in a place where it takes me too long to get somewhere where I don't see any buildings, and just being outside, sometimes even just 30, 45 minutes to an hour in your day would be enough to kind of reset me. And I noticed that that was one of the most beneficial things that I could do for myself would be, I'd have all these boxes I'm checking for my mental health, right? My sleep, no alcohol consumption, healthy eating, all these things. And then there's just something else that's not quite lining up. So what I find is having a relationship with the outdoors, whether that's just nature itself or animals or whatever you're specifically like feeling the most connected to, tends to be like foundational in mental health and just overall emotional well-being.
Wow. Having a relationship with the outdoors. I have not heard anybody say that phrase before. And I think that is really a powerful way of looking at how to engage with the outdoors. Yeah. Hang on. My mind is blown a little bit. So, wow. What, do you have a travel bucket list?
I can't take my RV, but I'd love to go to the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things. I spent, and I don't know if I could do this in the RV as well, but one of my favorite trips of all time that I did, I backpacked through Mexico for like 3 weeks. And this would have been back in like 2017 or so. Started in Mexico City, ended up in Puerto Vallarta, Sayulita, and then down to Oaxaca and this little place called Zipolite. By the way, I'm super white, so all of my pronunciations are butchered beyond reason. But like going down there and just absorbing that culture and being exposed to that culture, going into ruins and just like standing. I love ruins. I love places where, and this brings it back to nature, where nature has taken things back, right? You have like bones of our past that are literally like nature again. And I just love nature and history together, to kind of see the way that humanity's role has kind of shaped things, but then kind of ebbed and flowed over time. So I would love to go back to the Oaxaca area, especially because there's just so much there that I like I could stay probably a few months there, and still like have things to explore. So that's a big one for me as well.
That's very cool. Let's do a little bit of a lightning round questions with you. And I'm going to kick it off with one. What is the favorite place you've ever visited?
Oaxaca.
All right.
Okay. What's your favorite go-to road trip snack?
Nuts.
Okay.
I just like nuts. Yep.
Is there a particular kind?
Pecans and walnuts. I eat just plain pecans and walnuts. Like, it's going out of style.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Do you have a favorite campsite you've ever visited?
Yes. I really liked, so I went to this place. It's near Sebastian, Florida. It's kind of like a national park, and it's by the water out there. And there's like a Sebastian Inlet that's like a really big fishing area. But the parks out there have been phenomenal for RVing. But if it's just like exploring, Pacific Northwest all the way.
Nice.
What's one tool that you always have with you?
I have a toolbox that's always with me.
Okay. You found a loophole, but I'll accept that.
I would say honestly, something that I use the most since I've been here has been just like a screwdriver I usually have like a bunch, but because I'm limited for space, the screwdriver with the adjustable tops, you can switch the tops out. That is something that is in my kitchen because I frequently am grabbing it. So.
Yeah. Most surprising part of the RV life?
Most surprising part of the RV life. I would say I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. It is like it's like camping every single day of your life. It's like, when you're a kid and you have that like fort that you like, I wish I could live here. That's like what it's like to be in an RV and live that life. You're like, this is my fort. I can do whatever I want in it.
I love it. Cool. And speaking of doing whatever you want, you just did a little upgrade modification to your RV to bring in a new family member. You want to tell us about that real quick?
Oh yeah. Most RVs come with dinettes in them, and I can't stand them. They're uncomfortable, and they're just like, they take up a big space. And I had like a workspace, and I'm like, oh, but here's this dog. This dog I need. So Rowdy came to me and as a Doberman, he'll be my like third Doberman in my life. So I know like he'll get big. So I'm like, well, I need space. So I ripped the dinette out and I built a custom desk. That's like shorter than the dinette was wide, so that I had room right next to it for a large size kennel, and put a piece of wood over top of the kennel, so it is almost like a wraparound desk, because that's one of the desk surfaces now. So yeah, room for him. He's not thankful, I can tell you that much. He wants more all the time. It's never enough.
But he's cute.
He is adorable, yes.
I love that.
And like, you've actually got a ton of really great pro tips for having a dog in your RV life as well. Like really great information.
Yep.
All right. So in wrapping up, is there any other final tips, suggestions, advice you would like to give anybody that might be listening?
Yeah. If you think about this type of life and are like so many people and think, can I do this? I'd love to do this someday. Don't wait till you're retired. Just start researching it and figure out your financial situation and if you can afford it, and then figure out if you can physically do it, and just do that long-term research, and you can easily make it happen for yourself. And the only way to really figure out if it's right for you is to try it.
I love that.
Nice.
I'd love to try anything once at least. That's what I always say. Where can people follow you and learn more about you?
Yeah, so I have a blog. It's dustytrailrv.com, and that is where all my written advice and content is. And then I also have a YouTube channel at Dusty Trail RV. You can also find me on both Instagram and Facebook, and I have a TikTok as well, all with the same handle.
And you get to see Rowdy.
Yes.
And you get to see Rowdy, your new puppy. So cute. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on to our podcast and sharing a little bit about your life and your passion for RVs. I loved getting to know you better, and excited for what the future holds for you and in the RV world, because I think that you're making a positive impact, especially when it comes to the queer community and educating people on how to RV. Yeah,
absolutely. And maybe our paths will cross sometime.
I would love that. That would be great. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the LGBTQ Outdoors podcast. Until next time, get out there. Thanks for listening to the LGBTQ Outdoors podcast. Catch past episodes on your favorite streaming platforms and connect with us on Instagram or Facebook by searching LGBTQ Outdoors. Support our mission by joining the Trailblazers Society at lgbtqoutdoors.com/trailblazers. To learn more about our local chapters, LGBTQ Outdoor Fest, adventure trips, or to sign up for our newsletter, visit lgbtqoutdoors.com. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to follow, rate, and review. It helps keep our mission going.